Congratulations, Tszyu. I see you got through with that appetizer. I got through with mine. I got them out in 3, you got them out in 4. I don't know about you, boy, but I'm still hungry. Send the contract. I'll sign it by tonight. I promise you, I'll come to Australia and give you a good fight.
All right, man. Another schedule change at work, so we up early in the morning. So Keith Thurman tells Tszyu to sign the contract by tonight. And he said he'll promise he'll come to Australia and fight him. So Keith Thurman don't have no more leverage, and really Tszyu came to America and got that ass chewed up. So he'll love to stay in Australia for the greater good. But if they can get back in the ring by June or July, that'll be the most active Keith Thurman's been since fighting. Who did he fight before? Josito Lopez and Manny Pacquiao, and then he went away for some years. But good to see him speaking out. I mean, maybe he didn't see anything that deterred him away from fighting Tszyu. He probably was like, I can beat this guy. I don't see nothing too scary. In his last performance, he almost got sent to that upper room with Brock Jarvis. I think hit him with a counter right hand. And people was like, oh man, he didn't almost not hurt Keith. Yes, he did. That's when Keith Thurman started moving after he got clocked by that punch. First, Keith Thurman was holding his ground, trying to prove that, he can exchange at 154 pounds. He got hit with a punch and got on his bike. And remember what the fuck was going on. But then again, y'all don't watch fights. Y'all don't really watch the fights. Y'all watch the highlights. Y'all don't understand what y'all watching. And, at the end of the day, I think it's a proper fight for Tszyu. Joey Spencer was needed. He needed a true layup. He got a layup. Got his confidence back up. And then, you get in there with Keith Thurman. It's a step up. You don't want to go from there to Fondor, there back to Mazaliev. That proves absolutely nothing. I think Keith Thurman, a guy who's never been stopped, to give him an opportunity to go some rounds. It's good to see Thurman back talking. That lets you know that the economy fucked up, and Keith Thurman got to come back to fight and be active at it. So, for Keith Thurman to say, well, I'll come to Australia, just let you know there's a lack of TV dates, there's a lack of financial payout fights for Keith Thurman. And now that Keith Thurman is saying, hey man, I'll come out there and fight you. Yeah, he don't have no options. So, Tszyu can stake his claim back in Australia. He wanted to get back in the mix and come to America. But, got his little ass chewed up a couple times, had to run back home, sip on my Australian nipple a little bit more. Maybe at some point he'll be ready to come back to America. But, I didn't like his answer about fighting Mazaliev. I didn't like the lack of him, the lack of the idea of bringing him up as a future opponent. He called out some inactive fighters, Charlo, Spence, a non-champion in Virgil Ortiz, and you got a champion Mazaliev there. We understand that you're not ready for Mazaliev right now, but you should be calling him out, building up, but not blaming the IBF rehydration clause for why you got your ass whooped. You just wasn't the better man. And that's just what it is. You just wasn't the better man. But nonetheless, the Keith Thurman fight, if he gonna beat Tszyu, he gonna maneuver. But you can't maneuver for 12 rounds. Keith Thurman's an older man now. So Keith Thurman boxing for 12 rounds, it just ain't gonna be possible, even with the additional weight and not having to cut the weight. I don't think that's the best option for Keith Thurman. So I don't think that's the best option for him. So I think for him in general, early on, okay, he like to get off the hot start, but you got to understand, Tszyu like to get off the slow starts. So I think the key for him is probably touching that body a little bit, probably not trying to move as much, but move enough. I think that's still something that he quite hasn't mastered like Mayweather has. Mayweather move enough, he don't move too much, especially when he got older. And I just think that's something that Keith got to work on. Because at that age, even with the additional weight, he probably feel a little bit better. He can't move for 12 rounds, you know. So I think early on he has to be very, you know, calculated with his movements. You know, I'll point him. You know, when Tszyu fall in and square up with that right hand, or he throw combinations and he don't bring his hands back home, be prepared to punch with him. You know, touch that body, keep that jab. Well, I know Keith don't like throwing a jab. Keith don't like throwing nothing that's straight. That proved it in the Pacquiao fight. The Pacquiao fight, it took him 6-7 rounds to figure out that he versus Southpaw, the 1-2 was gonna work, especially the 2. It was like pulling teeth to get Keith Thurman to throw straight punches. So it was like pulling teeth. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, I'm him. I'm, you know, and then right around that time where Tszyu tried to pick it up, you know, then I'm countering Tszyu. I'm punching with Tszyu. I put some body work in and slow him down a little bit. Joey Spencer punches didn't bother Tszyu to the body, but Keith Thurman's a different caliber of fighter. But it's a fight that I'm intrigued in. I think it's a fight that either or can win. At this point, I think it's a tough call, to be honest. I didn't see enough of Tszyu, but it looked like he got his confidence back. It looked like he happy being back home. And, you know, Keith Thurman is just glass, man. I wouldn't be surprised if Keith Thurman lost that fight by injury. You know, he just ain't that no more, man. He just can't. I don't think he can. His age, his inactivity, he can't take the brute punishment of a fight. And I'm not just talking about getting hit with punches, the clinches, the physicality on the inside. You know what I'm saying? The pushes, the bumps. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he can take that. You know, Brock Jarvis wasn't a puncher and he clipped him. And Keith Thurman always get clipped, whether it was Josito Lopez, he always get clipped. The question is, when Tszyu clip him, can Tszyu finish him? That's what Keith Thurman opponents ain't been able to do. And one thing about Tszyu, he places his punches very, very well. So if I hurt Keith Thurman to the head, why not touch the body? You know the body's soft. You know, why not go to that body? You know? So the question is, when he do hurt Keith Thurman, can he finish him? And I'm not sure he got the feet to keep up with Keith Thurman, though. You know, Tszyu is a very patient fighter. Now, Keith Thurman might do what Keith Thurman do. He might come out hot as Crisco would. And then he might scorch hot, might drop Tszyu early, and then try to win 3 rounds on the back end to secure the fight. But going abroad is kind of different from doing that, because you really can't cruise. Even if you won 7 straight rounds, they still find a way to fuck you on them scorecards. So, you know, that's one thing you got to pay attention to. They'll still find a way to try to play you. So, you know, he got to be locked in at all times. Can't afford no knockdowns. Can't afford no points taken away when you go on the road. That's why a lot of Americans hate going abroad, because there ain't no room for error. When you go around the country, they hate Americans. Around the world, they hate Americans. You know, even though like Australia, a lot of they people that you know occupy Australia, they stole that land. Go check out the true indigenous people of Australia. That's just a fact. So they can say America is stolen land, but a lot of these lands around the world, you know, were stolen lands, and if they was in the position of America, they'd be doing the same thing. That's what be killing me. Motherfuckers be acting like, oh, if I was president, if I was a dictator, if I was the prime minister, or whatever, I'd be doing this. No, most likely you'll be abusing your power too. So, you go abroad, you already down 2 or 3 points because you're American. Don't let you be a black American, shit you down 6 points. So, Keith Thurman now begging to go to Australia. You know, it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny now that he's begging to go to Australia. Super duper funny. Super duper funny. So they let you know he ain't, you know, he running out of options. You know, he beat Tszyu. Now he might be one of the A sides of the division. So he might be one of them. So we'll see. But you know, he got a tough task. Older fighter, at least to be a little bit more active, but his body is fragile. I don't think he can take the abuse. But also, there's a little bit, you know, PSTDG, whatever, in the back of Tszyu mind too. So that's something you got to consider as well. So, hey man, let me know what y'all think, man. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance to get notifications when we go live with y'all video. Hit the link in the description. Follow me everywhere from X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal.